My greetings to both Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar, Fogsi President, and our guest for today, Dr. Shweta Khandelwal. A very good evening to one and all. I would like to extend heartiest welcome to the esteemed audience of Gyan Pravah, the podcast series. I'm sure we have a lot of participants joining today from all over the country, around the globe. Episode 1 is hosted by the Clinical Research Committee of Fogsi under the dynamic and visionary leadership of Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar, President Fogsi 2025. ज्ञान का बहकाना एक नया अनोखा रंग हर रात 8 बजे जुड़िए फॉक्सी के साथ. I am Professor Dr. Surekha Taide, the chairperson of Clinical Research Committee of Fogsi, and your host for today. It is my privilege to welcome our distinguished guest, Dr. Shweta Khandelwal, Senior Advisor, Nutrition at Japan. Today's discussion is on a very important topic: eat right, start right, evidence-based preconception nutrition. It is my privilege to welcome our very own President of Fogsi, a visionary leader and an unstoppable force in women's health. She leads our 40,000 plus strong federation with unparalleled energy, purpose, and compassion. A globally acclaimed IVF specialist and endoscopic surgeon, she has transformed infertility care in India, delivering the country's first stem cell baby and pioneering innovations that were once thought impossible. As Fogsi President, her impact is nothing short of phenomenal. Whether it's the revolutionary Gyan Pravah series, the impactful Eagle project, or the transformative Sampurna initiative on preconception care, Dr. Tandulwadkar's mission is clear: to empower women and elevate healthcare through action, science, and mentorship. With over 18 books, 85 publications, and hundreds of invited talks across the globe, she is a prolific academic voice and the current editor-in-chief of the Indian Journal of Gynecological Endoscopy. But more than a reference, it is a leadership philosophy. Yes, ma'am. We invite
your day, which
truly. Yes, ma'am. We welcome you, ma'am, and we would invite you to deliver the welcome.
Thank you, dear Surekha. Thank you for your kind word, and I'm so glad to see Shweta. Shweta is truly inspiring lady. She had been to Pune to visit me. So we had a discussion long back. For Sampurna, I don't know how many meetings we have done together. And I'm glad that it is taking up shape where Fogsi can be represented globally for this initiative. But more than that, Surekha, I'm thankful to you as well for selecting such a wonderful speaker. Nutrition is a demand. It's not only for a maternal health, for a woman health. Most of the women, they neglect. I don't know what you are going to cover through podcast, but I'm sure you want to give very important messages to the entire public, because it's not only the gynecologist who log in, it is on YouTube. Anyone and everyone can watch it globally. So give us a beautiful podcast insights where we can just forward this to the various public groups as well, so that we educate them the common problem of osteoporosis, or what they should eat at what gestational age, and the adolescent to postmenopausal age, everything differs. I don't know, but Surekha, being a professor, she will take a very intelligent interview. When she has picked you up, it means she is doing a research-oriented something coming out of the box. I'm glad that this will be so much enjoyable. Shweta, once she introduces you, I leave this screen for both of you to be visible to whole world, and I'll be listening to your podcast through the viewers link. Okay? Welcome to Fogsi platform, and welcome and rock.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. As you rightly said, we will have a research-oriented overview, and we will work in the arena of preconception care. with nutrition hand in hand. So that is what we are planning for today. And thank you very much for the support and your work, madam, for preconception care, which guided us towards selection of this podcast as well. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Let me now introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Shweta Khandelwal. She is MSc, PhD, MPH, and she is a highly accomplished public health nutrition leader with 20 plus years of progressive experience in maternal and child health and nutrition, driving policy relevant research, strategic implementation, and multi-sectorial integration. As senior advisor at JPIGO and former head of nutrition research of PHFI, she leverages deep technical expertise in maternal nutrition and the double burden of malnutrition to strengthen national and regional programs, overseeing government nutrition initiatives as well. Her extensive global collaborations, including Wellcome Trust Fellowships and active role on expert panels of MOHFW, MOWCD, FSSAI, ICMR, NITI Aayog, all these demonstrate a proven ability to influence evidence-based policy making. She has won several new national as well as international awards in the arena of public health and nutrition. Welcome, Dr. Shweta. We are very, very proud of your achievement and we are eager to have you on this podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Surekha. And Surekha, I think intermittently your Wi-Fi goes off, but I'm sure we will be able to catch up. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So viewers, let's now go ahead with this very invigorating discussion with Dr. Shweta Khandelwal. First of all, Dr. Shweta, we would like to know, what is this preconceptional nutrition? What does it entail? And how is India doing in terms of nutrition preparedness before pregnancy? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Surekha ji. It's a privilege to be here. First of all, let me thank the organizer, especially the Fogsi leadership and all of you together who, not only bring evidence-based policy making, who assist in evidence-based policy making, but also try to engage and aware the public per se. So I think it's a very welcome initiative, and I would like to start by answering what exactly for any person is preconception nutrition. Now, as we all know, that preconception nutrition sounds like a heavy word and it has to do with pregnancy. But please remember that preconception should not be seen as an isolated piece. Preconception is only a stage in the lifestyle of a woman, but it's actually also denoting the importance of life course. Here in this particular thing, we covered 3 age groups largely. One is the adolescents, which are going to be future mothers or future, parents of children. So that is first age group. The second is eligible couple, like immediately post-marriage, the people before they conceive or they plan for a pregnancy, that period, that woman. And the third is between 2 pregnancies. If there is a woman who already has a child or a few children before, and she wants to plan for the other one, in interim period is also making her preconception qualify for that. So preconception nutrition essentially is a package of interventions which helps the woman to not only plan a healthy pregnancy or healthy dietary practices before pregnancy, but also combines the principle of nature and nurture, because that supportive environment overall, along with a positive family behavior, reinforces her or gives her, empowers her to be able to do preconception nutrition better.
So how do you think this in India, this preconception concept, how do you think it is, taking shape, or how is the whole, preconception arena in India?
So I do want to say that the government has been really focusing on overall holistic health across life course in the form of several programs, right? Ministry of Health and Ministry of Women and Child Development and several other partner ministries are also helping in terms of, making sure that a person remains healthy irrespective of the gender. However, when we talk about specifically during this pregnancy period or just before you enter pregnancy period, unfortunately, India's certain statistics are those which we can improve. For example, one is anemia. Now, when you're asking me how is India doing, I'm only thinking about national level surveys right now, which have data to tell us that about 57% of women are anemic women, right? About 20%, 1/5 of our women are low BMI. That means underweight, undernutrition. Okay, about 24% are overweight or obese women, highlighting this dual burden, which Madam was also mentioning earlier, right? Also, we should know that about 50% of women start antenatal care after the first trimester. Many times it's because of cultural issues. Sometimes they miss the critical window, all of those reasons. So when we are talking about India as a whole, maternal nutrition or just before that, that is this preconception period, right now requires further strengthening. And like I rightly said, in terms of government putting strong efforts, whether it's Anemia Mukt Bharat, Poshan Abhiyan, RMNCHA, all of these programs have strong components of preconception. But of course, it can be further strengthened.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the statistics which you have provided gives us an overall idea of where we stand. And of course, government is putting a lot of efforts. But really, I think we need to focus on that preconception period, and our women has to be, the awareness has to be there for the women in the community as well as for the healthcare providers as far as preconception is. I think that has now given us a very nice overview and we can move ahead. So I would like to know from you about this critical window. Why is it so important that we focus on this, window of opportunity, which we call as the preconception window?
Yeah, this is a very important question. And I think there are certain, phrases which we use many times while teaching, which one of or two of them I'll share with you here. First is that preconception nutrition is not just about preparing for pregnancy. It is about optimizing the very building blocks of life. Right? The 9 months of pregnancy, which are preceded by this critical window of opportunity, here we lay the groundwork of a healthy future. These things have been shown over and over, Dr. Surekha, with future of the child later in life. So I think this critical window, which you rightly identified, is very, very essential to talk about. Not only does it ensure that the organ development begins early. By the time you realize there are so many things which have already kicked in, right? The physiological process. So therefore, if you have already entered the pregnancy in a healthy way, that is, you have started paying attention to it much before, you are likely to get beneficial impact, not only for the mother, but also for the child. Second, it's also about late ANC reduces effectiveness. We all know that, it's like a stitch in time saves 9. So better to start early than to have, later problems. Also, we have several studies showing or documenting the epigenetic nature. Now, nutritional status before conception, which affects the egg quality or the sperm quality, actually leads to long-term intergenerational health impact. Similarly, we have seen in studies, which I'm sure we will talk about later also, poor outcomes. If there are persistent poor outcomes during pregnancy interventions like low birth weight, SGA, preterm, and we saw the relationship of maternal nutrition, we really saw bigger connections with preconception than even during pregnancy. So therefore, again, it emphasizes the need for earlier intervention, right? And latest studies, right now in Lancet, for example, some data was published, which said that every $1 invested in the purchasing power parity gives return for this nutrition, gives return of $6.1. So imagine how much benefit we are reaping. So that's why when you ask me, why is it important, this critical window, there are so many reasons that we have discussed.
Yeah, thank you so very much. So it is not only about a healthy baby being born, it is about so many other things. Like you talked about intergenerational impact. Like you talk about, I just remember Modi ji, when we say Vishwa Guru banna hai, so Viksit Bharat. So all those things are interlinked. It is not only one baby, it is the whole community. It is, India, we are, featuring as an intellectual generation. So all that It is rested on the preconception care we are providing to our mothers and the way we are creating a narrative for the preconception care. I think that's very, very important. The way you have, highlighted all the benefits and how the impact of preconception care can be on generations together. Yes, but I would like to know what are, the research is telling us, both global and Indian research telling us about nutrition in the preconception phase. Can you share some key findings from any large studies or some guidelines or recommendations both at the global and the Indian level?
Yeah, this is again also being a scientist. This is very important for me to know in terms of what are the latest studies getting published, how we are seeing the impact of preconception nutrition on our birth outcomes, and so on and so forth, right? So in terms of the latest evidence, Surekha ji, especially from India, first of all, when we talk about Indian literature, there are also studies, trials, at least 4 or 5 trials, which have come in light, which have demonstrated the importance of preconception nutrition. One, for example, is the WING study. We all are very familiar of women and infant growth study. This particular study is really remarkably shown. It has 4 arms. The first is preconception, second is during pregnancy, third is post-pregnancy up to 2 years, that is the first 1,000 days period, and then is not any other intervention except the standard care. And they show very nicely, the researchers show how the preconception nutrition arm did much better when it comes to low birth weight, when it comes to stunting, when it comes to other maternal benefits, when you start investing from preconception stage, right? There may be some things which have shown statistical benefits, some have not shown, but all of them indicate that preconception, multi-component preconception interventions like MMN, that is multiple micronutrients, food-based supplements, behavior change strategies, health system linkages, all of these actually contribute to birth weight, actually reduce SGA, actually enhance maternal nutrition status. So imagine all these trials have actually documented, these benefits. The other trial, for example, is PRIA trial. We have heard from Dr. Yajnik's group. This PRIA trial is largely around B12 supplementation. So if you start giving B12 much before pregnancies, like during adolescent age, these women, when they go on to have babies, they were definitely much better in terms of their birth outcomes. Similarly, there was a woman first trial also, where it's a multi-country study, but there India was also India through Belgaum, I think, in Karnataka, was also a site. And they showed that how preconception could improve the newborn LAS, that is the length for age Z-scores, the weight for age Z-scores, all of those, stunting, SGA. So again, a lot of evidence documenting that. Similarly, a recent publication, which is the Lancet, one of the top rated journals, that published a lot of papers, 4 or 5 papers on preconception nutrition just recently, a couple of weeks back. So again, highlighting the importance of investing early on, investing in preconception, making sure that women enters the pregnancy more prepared, with more empowered stage.
Yeah, thank you so very much. So we now know that a lot of evidence is there that when you invest in nutrition for mothers, we are getting better outcomes. As far as the babies are concerned, we are talking of physical, the outcomes of the baby here. But I think there are a lot of challenges when we try to, implement in the community, or whether we even try to say what nutrition should the mother have, what kind of food she should be having. So a lot of challenges are there in a society like ours, where there are other players also, like the mother-in-law is there, the husband is there. So other players also are there. When we try to implement, we know that the benefits are there. But according to you, during your experience in the community, what are these challenges, we face by implementing this knowledge we have from research?
Again, very, very relevant question, Surekha ji. This is the crux. So many times evidence is in front of us, but how do we implement it at scale? that becomes very challenging. You have rightly pointed out. Now, if you see the history of any nutrition programs which happened in India, they all give you learning lessons from this. So the challenges which I will probably discuss right now, 6 or 7 challenges which come to my mind, these are also learned from other nutrition interventions in the community. Now, the first is policy and strategy challenge. Now, at the national level, if we look, we don't, like right now, we don't have a dedicated particular strategy or a policy per se. It is definitely mentioned, preconception is prioritized everywhere, and a lot of documents are there which say that yes, preconception nutrition should be prioritized, but we do not have any particular layout or guidance on how this should be rolled out at a field level. So I think it starts from there. And the leadership should be assisted. We should help, all of us should help put together at least a strategy piece where policy can be supplemented. That is one thing. They all are doing programs, but it can be definitely supplemented. The second challenge which I feel is about service targeting. So there, right now, many times people say that there is no platform to reach out the newly married women. And there are a lot of cultural problems in our country associated with newly married women. So frontline workers talking to them is seen sometimes negatively, that you don't want them to, like start a family, which may be the expectation in the communities. Or do you want to, like, why do you want to talk to them? Are they pregnant so early? Those kind of myths or societal cultural issues make it difficult for getting these early newly married women or adolescents about talking about pregnancy or how it will benefit them later. This becomes a little difficult. The third is about program integration. We also know there is RKSK platform, there's RCH platform, there are Mission Vikas Parivar programs. There are so many other, like I said, government is trying their best. But how do we seamlessly make it cohesive for a woman to access these preconception services is still not clear. So this can definitely benefit from a clearer convergence, and maybe development partners like us, leadership from Fogsi can help try to smooth this. Okay. Then the fourth or fifth challenge, which I was mentioning, is also about trained workforce. We cannot do anything without trained workforce, right? So workforce is already burdened with so much of other messages. How should we integrate preconception messaging? How should we get nutrition knowledge there? Are they capacitated enough? Do they have IEC material? Do they have SBCC material? Again, that to me is a challenge. Similarly, community engagement. Now, you rightly pointed out mother-in-law, father-in-law, husband, sister-in-law, so many things are happening at family level. How do we actually navigate that? What is the mechanism? That also needs to be spelled out. Then there is supply chain, timing of care. What time she should, she should know that, oh, I have to plan the pregnancy, now I should go and take preconception. All those kind of things, practical challenges are there. And last but not the least is monitoring system. Who is tracking these women? That before pregnancy tak hum unko track kare, and we continuously inform the system and keep them better prepared and motivated. So these are, I can go on, but
I know. These are very, very practical things,
Yeah.
You talk of the challenges, especially in our country where so many players are there and the community. So it comes to my mind that you have such a lot of experience in the community. So do you find that there are some successful models, maybe in the rural or the urban, maybe in the non-government sector, where we can learn from these models from your experience? Can you share some of these, experiences?
Yes, thank you so much for asking this. And again, of course, people are doing so much good work, Surekha ji. I may not know everything because we also as experts are limited by what is published, right? So I'm sure many districts, many blocks, many villages are doing some extremely good work, which I may not be knowing of, but at least what is published, like I gave you example of WINS trial, right? That is being implemented at a large scale in Himachal Pradesh now. Before it happened in Delhi, now it is being done in Himachal Pradesh as an implementation as an implementation experimented by the government themselves. There is ownership from the government also. So these kind of examples are scalable models. This in the community setting will give us a lot of insights into how preconception package can be done. Similarly, there was one by UNICEF, if I remember correctly, which was Swabhiman package. That was also there, published, I think in Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh, they had done this, where community delivery, they showed that was feasible and scalable. That also is a good model from UNICEF. There was another intervention trial which was done by Ramesh Poddar from Mumbai. He made homemade food supplements and gave it to during preconception time. And they found that this food-based approach works when we start early, right? That also was a model. Similarly, a couple of studies from Bihar also used PLA. Ekjut, for example, uses PLA technique, that is participatory learning approach, where they used group-based BCC model, PHC-based things, where changing of behavior and improving service uptake at the community level was demonstrated. So there are models for sure, but of course, like you said, it has to be tested. It has to be made sure that har community ka, har jagah ka adaptation, it should happen. So those kind of things remain, but these are some models.
Yeah, but I had a very informal talk with you, sometime back in Delhi, and you were mentioning many things about, what your experience is in the community, like making things available in the shops itself, what should be given to the mother has to be specifically available there. So all those, personal pointers I wanted to know from.
Yeah. So in terms of personal, the work that Jivaigo, for example, is doing in this space, because I lead the nutrition work here, and one of the packages that we are preparing for preconception care and nutrition is called Sukhi package. This was also displayed in the meeting that you and I were a part of, where we wanted to make sure that the Sukhi not only is as a word, it denotes happiness for a newly married couple, but also stands for an acronym, right? S, we wanted to entail principles of social and behavior change communication. U, for unpacking all these complex protocols and making sure that we have a simplified way to leverage the government systems and infrastructure and make sure that we are not doing something new, which is the government will have to bear extra cost for, and therefore it can have a resistance. But this is something which can leverage the existing protocols. K is for a knowledge center or a knowledge corner at the HWCs. You know that this government particularly is really focusing on Ayushman Bharat, on health and wellness centers, for counseling, for service linkages. So we thought that why not use these knowledge corners for obviously incorporating preconception care and nutrition also. Right? Then H is for hand-holding and capacity building. I also emphasized early on that nothing can be possible without people from the community owning this, right? So if we do not capacitate the frontline workers, nothing can move forward. And last is I. In today's day and age, nothing can happen without integrated information technology, right? IT systems. There is so much ease that brings about because of digital technology. We would want to definitely use it. So this combination of SUKHI, all the Sukhi words for preconception, which Jivaigo is experimenting, and at least it's working with the government in Karnataka for this, is a model that we are really hoping that would help understand how we can do this better in the community setting. We are not saying it will be like everything is a hit, but we will definitely learn and get community insights on this.
That's lovely. I think the Sukhi word itself suggests the Sukhi mother as well as the baby. And we are providing all the actors there. So one of the actors, I think, is the community health workers, the frontline workers, the ANMs, the ASHAs, the VHNDs, and they have a huge role to play when we are talking of this linkage between research and between what we are doing in the community, isn't it? All the OBGYNs, they are not going to go in the community. So what is, according to you, the role of these frontline workers and how we can use them and leverage all their association with the community to provide this preconceptional package?
That's a fantastic question, Surekha ji, again, because this to me is the crux. Like I was saying in all my, the things that we were discussing, I was just explaining how important it is for these frontline workers to take ownership. So like you rightly pointed out, the ASHAs, the ANMs, the frontline workers, which includes these community health workers, the CHOs, which I'm saying, all of these people, what is their current role? Their current role is to ensure that the newly married woman or the adolescent or the pregnant woman, she feels like a part of the system. She feels like she has somewhere to go to. for an optimal outcome, whether it's for our own health or it's for our baby, right? So we would like to see the role of frontline workers as absolutely top class. We want to make sure that they have best, state-of-the-art technology, all the point of care devices. We should see them literate in terms of handling all these IT devices or health checkups, making sure that the screening is correct. We want to make sure that they are able to measure, like at least the weight, the nutrition counseling, all of these components, which these people are supposed to do in obviously a phased and systematic manner, and making sure that they are cohesive. Nobody is repeating each other's job, but only complementing, right? So that all these checklists, whatever package of services for preconception are to be delivered, has to be through these people. So we have to make sure that they themselves are motivated, and they themselves are role models in some sense, right? Because we know that a lot of these women are from that community, are these young, aspirational women, leaders in their own sense. So of course, we will try and train and empower these frontline workers, and we see their roles significantly in terms of making sure that the screening happens rightly, the risk identification is done on time, proper counseling is provided, all of that system, supply chain is fully sort of covered from their end.
Yeah, I think that's so very important. So we have the health system here, we have the providers, we have the frontline workers and individuals. So all have to cohesively work together. There has to be a good collaboration between all of them. So here is a call for action now to come together, the system, the workers, the frontline agents. So all the actors have to work cohesively so we can achieve this, very beautiful goal of providing nutrition and preconceptional care and reaching a very healthy generation. I think it's a very nice message which you have given, Shwetaji. But I would like to know, yes, we have these frontline workers. Now there are 40,000 gynecologists in Fogsi, isn't it? So do we also have some role to play? How can we incorporate all of this, in our routine care which we provide to the pregnant women? How do we, plan it in such a way that everybody gives the same much message, the uniform message, and we know what to say when we are talking to our pregnant women, our patients?
Yeah, so again, like you yourself have said, it has to be harmonized. That's the most important word, Surekha ji, because frontline workers will do their job because that's a part of the government system. But at the same time, the principles, the evidence is the same thing, right? So whether it's those people in the communities or you sitting as OBGYNs and general practitioners in some maybe healthcare, setting, both of you are actually complementary and symbiotic relationship, because they are trying to tell the women mostly in the rural settings, but you also are trying to attend to as many people as possible, not only in urban settings, but wherever possible, right? So when I think about you guys, I think it's important that you do opportunistic screening. For me, that role comes from you, because many people in the urban setting, or at least semi-urban, come to you for some health visit, for any RTIs, for any contraception, for general illness. So that opportunity should be utilized for at least delivering nutrition status, screening for BMI, anemia, dietary gaps, right? Because like madam's vision is Sampurna, she says, right? So we have to make sure that all these 4 or 5 things we use during opportunistic screening. Similarly, nutritional risk identification. As doctors, it is important that you are able to highlight, even if that person has come for some other issue, but let us be, very present in the moment to be able to identify high-risk individuals, whether they are underweight, overweight, those with poor birth outcomes, micronutrient deficiencies, that you're able to capture them and counsel them again. Similarly, preconception checklists can be a part of your work. So even if you know that this woman is coming in this age group, maybe you have a ready-made, your Figo and Fogsi already have certain checklists, very nice checklists. Can we use those or an adapted version for your particular state or geography that you look at, and ask about these questions easily? Then also making sure that linking to public programs happen from you. Many times people are not able to afford routine every time care. So you guide them, at least you have some flyer or some information about government programs, and you can make that connection possible. You can have some display of IC material, which these people can benefit from. Recording and following up is also one thing which you should do. Similarly, calling that woman along with the family, whether it's the male and family engagement, that also you can. So that all these small things which the people are doing in the communities, you can also do. I feel that this is quite doable. It will, of course, impinge on your time, because I know that you all are burdened with work, but this is also very important for preconception nutrition.
Two things I think have struck me very well in this conversation. One is the checklist. I think checklists are very important. Because we converse with our patients, but we don't want to miss something. So I think though there may be checklists, but many of us are not using that. So I think we need to take the message that yes, checklist is important. Second, I think the participation of the male, the partner. I think I can take that message from you also, that when we are, talking with the lady, she is stressed with the pregnancy, but the partner is there to help out. I think we have to take in the partner, the husband here, and, when we are counseling, when we are doing some interventions, I think the male is very, very important player. And of course, I would like to mention what our Fogsi president is doing, the Sampurna project, how she has scaled up the whole thing, and how we would like to go for not only advocacy, but awareness with the healthcare provider and with the community as well. So that awareness is very, very important, because many times women, not sure what to eat, what is best for them. So I would like to mention one of my students, ICMR student, actually did a very good project when I was in JNMC about the local food palette. The local food palette, and how we can modify that palette and make it more nutritionally sufficient, and how to explain to them, counsel to the women. So all these things, there are lots and lots of interventions at undergraduate level, at postgraduate level, training doctors to counsel for nutrition, which usually we are not trained, when we are undergraduates, we are not trained how to counsel for nutrition. We'll just say, okay, low carbohydrate, high protein, rich in vitamins and all. But exactly what to eat, those are the things I think we should all be talking about. What do you say?
Absolutely, 100%. I completely align with you. And these are things, because I like you introduced me, my last 18 and a half years were in a teaching and research role, right? More actively in that role. So I know that these kind of challenges always came forth. When I used to do courses on nutrition and nutrition research, most of my people who used to come for those courses were doctors, because they really felt the need for supplementing their medical curriculum with nutrition knowledge. Because, somehow in our community, we look at doctors as God, to be honest. So when we come to you, even being a nutritionist myself, I'll still ask you, ma'am, is cheez ke liye kya khaye? It happens automatically. So that faith, yeah. So the
training has to start from the undergraduate level. How to counsel for nutrition, what to eat, what not to eat. So very, very important. I think that message is that the medical education itself has to be enhanced, to include nutrition at each level, adolescent level, pregnancy, during pregnancy, after pregnancy, postpartum. So nutrition, I think, is very, very important to come into the medical education as well. So thank you. I think we now are coming to the end of our podcast, and we should discuss about policies and programs, how we can scale up, what we should scale up as a policy and as a program at national as well as global level.
So like I had already told you, Surekha ji, that as of now, we don't have a national PCC or the preconception care policy or guideline per se dedicated. We have in bits and pieces, like I said, so we can, sort of have a more comprehensive, more cohesive preconception care guideline, or at least a work for, like you said, for your OBGYNs or for people who are at the community. There has to be some clear constructive way, operational guidance on what to do, how to do. I think that, to me, in terms of policy or program, is the first need. Second is there are several elements of PCC like IFA, anemia screening, which exist now, but integrated PSCC, the preconception protocol across programs are lacking, and especially for non-pregnant women. So like we always say in anemia also, the WRA, the women in reproductive age group, which is non-pregnant, that particular group feels left out. Like there's no, how do we integrate them in this RMCHA? That is something which I think from policy angle we should think about. Similarly, screening protocols like you have for pregnancy, we have ANC, we check up for this, we identify high risk, pregnancies. But what about BMI, family planning screening tools? These NCD risk factors, lifestyle before she conceives. So how can we have screening protocols to do before she enters or decides to be pregnant? Similarly, health workforce tools. I was talking about capacity. How will we train these people? Where is the material? How do we prepare a training package at a national level or at state level? That is also very important. Another thing which I forgot before, and something which we should think about is digital systems. IT information, I told you that we are thinking of, but dedicated tracking of these women, like you have Ocean Tracker by Ministry of Women and Child Development, right? For every child to be tracked in real time, and how that you can prevent stunting or any kind of wasting or any other problem. Similarly, can we track these preconception women also, so that if they are planning or doing anything undergoing later on, we have a dedicated record of some sorts. These are some ways I think that policy and programs can be scaled up or improved.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have lots and lots of work to do, and most important is to have written guidelines, a strategy, how to move ahead with this nutrition and preconception both hand in hand. The strategy has to be in place, and really you have mentioned number of various scalable strategies here. So coming to the fag end, I think we should have some rapid fire, and I just want to need brief one-word answers for else I would like to put in for you. So one nutrient most Indian women are deficient in.
Definitely, my hands-on answer is iron, because we have 57% anemic women. So iron should be my answer.
One myth about nutrition which you wish to bust?
That nutrition matters only during pregnancy. That's a wrong thinking, because it's important that before pregnancy also they are equally paying importance to their nutrition.
Absolutely. What about one book or paper everyone should read on the topic?
There are several, but I think just now, because you asked me and we are talking about preconception, I think this Lancet series which came out in 2025, just now, a couple of weeks before, the systematic review on preconception nutrition interventions in South Asia, that is a power-packed paper. You should read that.
Absolutely. And what about one hope for the future of maternal health in India?
I think I will align with the Fogsi president that she says every woman should enter the pregnancy healthy, informed, and by choice, not by chance.
Absolutely. I think here we have a closing message here, Dr. Shweta, that if we are serious about improving maternal and child outcome, we must start before the bump. Nutrition before pregnancy is the first step to a healthy family and a healthy community and a healthy nation. Any message, last message from you?
No, I think all of us have a role to play, Dr. Sunita. It's not that we think that our role will not be of significance. Whether it's a teacher, whether it's a community worker, whether it's a family member, everybody has a role to play in this. So I think we all need to take accountability. We all need to chip in our bit. Boond boond se sagar banta hai. So everybody should do their bit.
Thank you very, very much. It was absolutely wonderful having you with us. And we are really very, very grateful to you, Dr. Shweta, for sharing your experience, for sharing your expertise, and shedding light on this critical area of nutrition in preconception care. Your dedication to improving maternal and child health is truly, truly inspiring. A special thanks to Dr. Shweta, Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar, our President Fogsi, whose visionary leadership has made this platform a reality, transforming discussions into action and fostering meaningful change in women's healthcare. To our audience, I would like to say thank you for tuning in and being part of this journey. Your engagement and commitment to achieving maternal health outcomes, successful outcomes, drives us forward. Stay connected for more thought-provoking discussions in the upcoming episode of Gyan. Thank you, Shweta ji. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you. I enjoyed this time. It felt so happy, like talking to you, discussing these things with you, Surekha ji. I'm so glad that you had me. I'm really, really fortunate and privileged. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Until next time, let's continue to learn, share, and empower. Good evening and take care. I, Dr. Shweta Tai, Surekha Taide, and Dr. Shweta Khandelwal would like to sign off. Good evening.